If it's conservative,
if you're looking for something liberal
and realistic, this is the place to be.
And we're back again, ladies and gentlemen, to our final segment on this black tax issues. And would like to delve into the effects of black tax as we are discussing these guys. My feelings, Gaidiji? Yes, the effects. So I think we need to start from side the negative side. Let's start from the negative side. How is it affecting us negatively, this black tax thing? Natasha, I'll start with you.
Actually, it mounts pressure on me because I'll be feeling the desire or the obligation to give back and do certain things for my relatives, whereby maybe my mother's sister, maybe she took care of some of the needs I had when I was in school. So I will feel like it's a responsibility for me to, when I make it in life, to share my wealth with other family members or maybe retain that favor in life. And then the other side is whereby she will want me to, they will expect me to do certain things for my parents, whereby I'm still at an early stage of life, whereby I'm still earning a little amount of money. And then they expect me to maybe pay for their kids' school fees, whilst I have also my siblings who are still in school. Or maybe they also expect me to pay for my grandfather's hospital bills, whereby I still have more responsibilities at home.
Okay. I get it. All right. Woza hanzi nini? Woza hanzi nini? Kazokera mBhayibheri anditi. Isaac ndiye adya mari yababa wake, baba wake anodya mari yaIsaac. Mozonwadzisa. What do you think?
I personally think this black tax effect, from the negative point of view, it has done a lot of damage around how young people manage themselves. Because you find out that now we have scenarios where a person is coming from a background where this black tax thing is actually a trending thing. You can't run away from it. It's rooted in the family. And because you'll be reminded that Mwana Wabam Nini did this, it takes us to even things that we don't even believe in. But because we are in the family, we have to comply.
It's not like
exactly. And everything. So I also feel like it affects us even when it comes to choosing life partners. Because I can imagine a situation where I am coming from a background where I was forced to pay the black tax. It's either in service or in kind, in cash. Then I'm coming across a person maybe who did not even experience that, but who believes in Ubuntu. Because he wants to help. He's saying, no, we have my guru's son who's not going to school. Let's take him and come and stay with us. Since we have an extra car, we can. But because I'm grounded, I'm thinking the trauma is like, we are going back to where we are supposed to pay this tax without even putting it on our budget. At some point, I'm feeling like my children are not supposed to enjoy my sweat because we have to be taking care of other people continuously. So even the spirit of helping will generally fade away. Because at some point, a gun was like being held and I'm told, help us, Ethel, we need your help, whether you like it or not. You find out, I have a very big house, but I'm like, when you come to my home, appointment. If you're not going to book an appointment.
First question is,
exactly. Because these things have been like, that's the bitterness we are talking about. Because I was just told that kwedu kwa msara is suit nobody the black tax, whether you like it or not. I'm starting school before.
Or maybe you marry someone who is already taking care of his other extended family members. Atorim takes care.
Exactly.
I get married to someone who's already staying with his cousins, paying their school fees. It's already an extended family already.
Yeah, I think also from my work line point of view, I think I've come across a lot of violence being happening now in our today's marriages and a lot of conflict. And that's why even our statistics of divorce in the High Court is actually a bit higher. Because if you ask counselors, they will tell you these are the issues people are going for counseling for. He's always bringing in people, and we have budgeted 1,000 for a month, and now we are taking the other 500 to give to his people. And I could not even change my car. I could not, because at some point I wanted that life when I was growing up, and I said, I'm going to get my husband. We're going to have our fun life, a fancy life, because that's what I've always wanted to have. Maybe growing up was really rough for me. So the black tax thing has really a negative effect on how we handle our social life.
It's mostly also on married people, whereby the women are actually the problem. They don't want to take care of their husbands' relatives. Maybe
The table, yeah, shaking your fingers.
whereby you get married to your husband and then he's already taking care of his relatives. But when you get into that into your husband's life, you become jealous. Why is he taking care of these kind of relatives? Why is he taking care of other people when we have our own life? And mostly us women, we expect I expect my husband to go with plenty of groceries to my parents, but to his parents, he should not give them anything. Or maybe we just go with maybe 2 loaves of bread, and then we give them $50. That's enough. But when we are going to visit my parents, he should
Need your whole bag of groceries.
The boat should at least try not to close.
And the bills, we actually have to take care of them. We use our medical aids. We pay for their bills, everything, So us women, we have a problem when it comes to black tax, mostly.
Ron, what do you think?
I think some of the negative effects is
I know Aramba Kuchikago, Porigire Whoop.
I know that's trivial.
in stipulated amounts, in stipulated amounts. If the negatives are, it builds resentment. You end up replying certain messages late.
Oh yes.
You know that this message,
They're checking up on you, and you think they want something. Yes.
And sometimes when it's an obligation, and the person on the receiving end is the one determining how much you should give back, I've got a problem there, because I need to give what I can, okay, at the end of the day. And this it stunts my growth.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they didn't take you to Peter House. They took you to Harare High, where they could afford.
Yes. So while I'm trying to save up to one day get married, that progress is being slowed down. Okay. Whilst I'm trying to save up to buy a car or other things, I feel it stunts a lot of progress. You can't even think of spoiling yourself because there's too much on you, and it's also a negative effect that the person you are funding or financing relaxes and stops and refuses to think. Sometimes people tend to also think that, no, this is a source of income. We must also help people to generate their own income. I remember when I first got to Harare, I stayed with a relative, but at some point I also needed to start paying rent, in their house, and that was a good form of honesty. I feel like that should be something that we should also do, Yes, help people, but when they are now capacitated, it must also have a limit.
Yeah. I think we should plug a leaf from the white people culture. If you are able-bodied and you're working, you have certain bills that you pay in the household.
Yes.
Whether you're staying with your parents or with your grandparents, if the gas bill is on you, no one worries about gas.
Yes.
You should provide gas.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, when you said about stunting our growth, I think the black tax collectors, if I might put it, the black tax collectors, they should understand that there's a building phase in life. If you stunt my growth, right? If you stunt my growth, you are crippling me to be able to help other people in the future. You get it? They helped you to go to school because they could afford it at that time. If you could take them 10 years back, they wouldn't afford it. So no one should be imposed to pay something just because they are working.
Okay.
What do you want to say?
Yes, I want to say, it becomes like a trending thing that sometimes relatives it's not really that they're in need. Sometimes they just see that
They just want money.
whatever, it could not be money or what. Yeah, if
Okay,
you have
they just want a
they
piece of
just
you.
want something,
A
and
piece of you.
because they have seen it that it's there. To understand that the money that I could be getting now, it's capital, maybe perhaps to be something bigger that could actually benefit them in the long run. The moment they just see that you are trying to make it, they just want something. Yeah,
Blacks.
it's tax, it's black tax.
So how about the positives, guys? Everything has a positive and a negative side. Let's delve into the positives now.
I think some of the positives. Yeah. I think some of the positives. I am who I am today because I was raised by a community. You know, there was another lady who played the role of my mom at school. There, if let's say my button was coming off, they would just help. They would say, "Take off your shirt." They sew it back on, and they say, "Go back and play."
And you're good to go.
And you're good to go. But they did it effortlessly, all right? And for my benefit, you probably don't even know the car that took your mom to the hospital when you were born, you know? And some of those people, they hold it. When you get married or when you get a job, they remember because they played a big part. Taking you to hospital, it's a milestone. So it affects us positively because sometimes people take part in your success, things that you can never pay back. Yeah.
And when you can afford, you should give them something.
Yes,
Yeah.
when you can afford, I like that.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, when you can afford
Yes,
it.
they should.
Yes.
They
Okay.
should not expect.
They should not expect it.
Disclaimer on that. Yeah.
Yes.
When you can afford, you should give them something. That's the positive side. Ethel,
Well, I feel like I could be thinking in emotions when I think of the positive side of black tax. Because sometimes I even imagine if we were not Africans, how we were going to do it. I'm one of the people who sometimes, if I just think, if I go to the States or anywhere in Europe, am I really going to survive? Because I've really found a lot of
We are who we are
consolation because of the community and the society. Also, I was the last born in my family, and the time I grew up, my parents were working separately, and they were both not there. So we were like a child-headed family at some point. And I remember a lot those women from church coming to check. I was a sickling. I'd get sick time and again. And at some point, my siblings would not really understand what really to do. The medical aid is there and everything, but they are also kids. And the next morning, I wake up, I'm at my Ndoro's house. That's where I'm staying for a week because she's taking care of my asthma and, So I sometimes when I go back home, just getting home, I think the emotion of saying, what really should I do for these people? Because at some point, I feel like I'm one of the people who are like sometimes, I don't want to have a big wedding and what. When it really hits me sometimes when I think of this black text, I'm like, but I would want my Ndoro to be there on my wedding, just thinking where we have come from. So I feel like it has a lot of positivity in it. It's just that people are now trying to portray it in a bad way because of force.
So
But I am because we are.
Can we say this?
Mhm.
You can put an obligation on yourself
Yes.
as a person.
Yes.
On yourself as a person. I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things for my daughter because of what she...
Just to appreciate
Yes.
her being there.
Or, on your own time frame?
Yes.
Maybe it can take you 5 years for you to buy a Honda Fit.
Oh, yeah.
But you're going to do it
I'm
for
going
him.
to do it.
And in that way, that's okay.
Mhm,
That's the
mhm,
positive side of it.
But
Okay.
do you know, I think maybe we are focusing too much on the material tax. Okay. So for some people, it just takes a visit. It just takes going to sit with Mindoro on a Sunday afternoon while she's peeling her nuts, or just going on even if it's just for 30 minutes, sometimes we overlook that because those people, it was not necessarily that they have, but it's a gesture.
It's what they could offer.
Yeah, some of these older people, they just appreciate you going to sit.
Then you sit, you eat salads and then
Exactly.
go.
Yeah, because when it becomes eventful, that's where the problem is. But when you are constantly in their lives, you reduce the material side of things.
Yeah, so I think it's actually an important point to note that as much as we can run away from the society, as much we can think of bills and what, we still need one another. I am because we are. The Ubuntuism has been really working on, and I feel like most of us
And we
have an experience.
shouldn't be washed away into the white culture of
we
each
should.
man for himself.
Family is everyone who's there for you. Family is those big families that we used to have. That's how it takes us back. I think this black text should take us back to family more than anything else.
Natasha? Yeah. Unima positives here.
Okay, well, looking at the positive side, I think black text, it has pivotal socio-economic role to play, whereby it lifts your family out of poverty. It lifts families out of poverty. Maybe we have maybe a cousin who is in the overseas, and then he decides to sponsor one of our relatives here in Sim. And then when he sponsors the visa, everything for our cousin, and then she goes to the overseas. And then
Now you have two people.
now we have two people who are in the overseas, and then our life, it will become,
The burden is reduced.
the burden will be reduced, and we will be now living a good life. We will be now promoting each other and have a good life.
I see. I think that's a very valid
Yeah,
point.
Natasha has just reminded me that it brings this mentality of wanting each other to rise. Like if Ron is my cousin, right? I'm just thinking, but you know what? There's an opportunity that Ron could come and fit in because he's able to do ABCD. The moment he's doing his own life, there's no need for him to call me and say, "Hey, cousin, I have money," because he's now making his money. So
Okay.
sometimes I feel like, it gives us better position.
So in as much as they came and colonized us and stole our resources, we can pluck a leaf on how the whites behave. What do I mean? If a white person owns a farm, right? The supplier of fuel could be his nephew. The supplier of maybe cattle vaccinations could be his son.
Yes.
Like
They do nepotism a lot.
The money circles around the family. The circles are the one who does transportation could be the wife. So the money is kept in and around the family. As long as that business thrives, everyone benefits.
That's why they have generational money.
Yes,
They're generationally rich.
So I think they have with a bedside. They came and colonized us, but we should pluck a leaf on how they operate as well. So now, seeing that this black text has got positive and negative effects, I think we have to focus on the solutions now to counter the negative effects. Because if we delve into a subject, we have to come with solutions and points to take on, is it? So looking at the word text coming from an accounting perspective, you can either evade tax or you can avoid tax. And tax avoidance is legal, even here in Zimbabwe. But tax evasion now,
that's where the problem
if
is.
they catch you, you are not so. Like if you're a company, if you evade tax and they catch you, as soon as money comes into your account, they garnish it. You get it? So we want to work on solutions, guys. Solutions. Okay. These solutions, they might not have instant results, but as they are passed on from generation to generation, we could actually be free from this.
Yes.
And we start practicing Ubuntu again. Yes. So, Ron, what do you think?
So, in other words, by tax avoidance, we are saying
we should never evade black tax. We should avoid it.
We should avoid it.
Yeah.
And we are trying to empower the next person so that black tax is not burdensome. to each and every one of us. If all of us here are working, it becomes easier for us to say, let's meet for lunch, because it's an assumption that everyone can afford. If you decide not to come, it's because you've got other priorities. You are busy. But if we say let's meet for lunch when there's only two of us who are financially stable, it becomes a problem. So we need to get to a point where if I invest in my cousin's education, right, and I think that's a good form of black tax.
Here's a stepping stone.
Yes, as a stepping stone.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow, if you become an accountant and I run a tech company, I need an accountant tomorrow. But if I always give you money and you abuse it, then there's a problem there. So we need to avoid tax by investing
In our families.
Yes, in our families.
Into something productive.
Productive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ethel, what do you think?
Yeah, I think just to add on what Ron has said, it's really wise to empower this coming generation. Let's learn to empower each other. We are now becoming the parents and the old people of a community. Very soon, our children will be like, Dasangana na mebe chikuru, referring to me, right? Yeah, so we also need to have solutions like bringing in a concept to say, if I help Natasha lift up, she's going to stand up on herself. Natasha will probably pick one behind here. The other one would. It's a chain of helping each other to get there. Yes, I remember from our family we had a my nini who was like my nini's wife, who brought in that concept. So I was a child who was all over. I didn't know what to do because career-wise I was struggling. I didn't know I could fit in the social sciences. I didn't know I could fit there. So she was one person who would say, "I want all the girls to come to my house." When you go there, you stay there for something like a term. When you're back there, you know what you want to do. That's why I discovered my career, things that I was able to do, everything. So now whenever we go for gatherings, when she sees me, she knows I'm not a burden. She can call me anytime and say, let's go and see Gogo. She knows when we get by the fuel pump, I'm going to say, no, it's fine. Not because ndakumbira, but because I'm able to do it. Now, when people look at her, she's now, in our family, she's actually a star because all the girls who are coming from her home, they are really somewhere.
Nice.
But
So
guys,
I feel like that's the good form of black tax we need to learn to give.
how did you miss the point on positives of that respect you have for someone who helped you?
Exactly.
How did you miss that?
Whenever you see that person, you're like, it's because of him.
In our
where I
family,
am.
I've got my bamkuru, the older brother to my dad, humble guy. He never reminds you. Me, I know that at some point in time when I was in varsity, that's when I can remember. He paid for my school fees.
Okay.
But he never reminds you that I did this for you. You get it? When I get my orders and I don't have capital, he's a call away. Dad, I want this, and this. Okay, come to my office. He gives you the money. He doesn't want any percentage on top. And I've got mad respect for that man. You
He's
get
like
it?
your go-to person.
Yes, he is my go-to person. And as a person, I admire and respect him.
You know why? Because he empowered you.
Yes.
When you're asking money to bring your orders, it's not like you're saying, pay for my order, right? So because you learn to empower someone, knowing that if we don't empower these young people, the problem is going to come back to them.
Yes.
If my parents did not send me to school right now, I could have a child and go back, stay with them. They will take care of me with my 4 children without their fathers.
Yes.
And because they did not teach me the right way, I keep coming back to them. So let's learn to educate.
So there's a trending
the
song,
next
right? There's a
generation.
trending song for the past 2 weeks. Chiremerera by Japres. Anarudo chiremereraga. Uplift someone in your family.
Exactly.
Yes. What do you think are the solutions to black tax, Natasha?
I
To the negatives that we discussed, or the negatives that you forgot, or awanyara kutawara about.
the negatives.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring in the issue of teachers. There are some teachers at school whereby they taught us well, and when each time you meet them or each time you visit the school, they expect something from you. I don't know if it's black tax. I'm just asking.
That's very controversial. I feel like it's part of black tax, but like what we are saying, let's try to embody this personality.
But
of-
I'm not working, and they expect me. Maybe I meet them in town. We just bump into each other. Siamare drink,
Yeah,
But-
I've mastered the art of evading that one. Of evading that. That one needs to be evaded. There is no two ways about it. You just have to wanzanyaya. You just have to keep talking.
But actually, you feel
No,
the
I'll
need
take you
to
for
give
lunch,
them.
ma'am. At some point, I will. I'll take you for lunch. At some point, it's not every person whom you're going to meet in life who's going to direct you to do something and you just follow. I also feel like, those people are there and it's character based. They make us sort of put a quote to say teachers are bad people when they are not. So I feel like it's just one person who's into the teaching industry who's just greedy at some point, and we don't have to crucify the whole load of teachers.
Right, guys. I think the other solution that we can take and implement with regards to black tax is financial intelligence. Right? We have to sit down with our parents. Because in the black setup, we barely talk about money. We talk about virginity,
It's
lobola,
sacred.
what.
Yeah, marriage.
We don't talk about money.
Yes.
Guys, ndawana basa. And I'm getting this much. After tax, I'm getting this much. These are my monthly expenses. And what I have to pay per month is $200. They know your capacity. And they will never call you who feel an obligation for 1,000.
Yes.
When you've explained to them that, you know what, guys,
This is
me,
what
I
I'm
can afford
earning.
$200.
Yeah.
Make
No, I
them
like what you're
understand.
saying, because when there was a point in time when I was making an installment for something, and I was at the point of defaulting, my dad chipped in, and he helped, just because I myself was responsible enough to actually have that initiative of doing something good for myself. He could afford to help me. But imagine if I put the whole burden on him. That is bad. So another solution to black tax, do the best for yourself. There are some people who started going to school when they found out that someone from their family passed their O levels. Motivation. So you yourself have to do the best for yourself. If there is any form of happy pictures that you should show, are those graduation pictures. Don't hide that stuff. The good things that you're doing for yourself are actually a motivation. And you're actually paying some form of tax by just being good for yourself. Because there's someone there who's going to be motivated by it.
Okay, guys, I think time is our enemy here. We are running away from, we are running out of time. And I would like take home points from each and every one of you. Just brief. Then we
How
conclude.
many seconds?
At most 40 seconds. Okay. Ron.
I think start with Natasha.
Natasha?
Yeah, I'll end.
One ladies.
Well, about black tax, I just don't want the pressure from relatives. That's all.
Abereki msabe wana pressure.
Yes. Pressure. I should do things out of love and appreciation, not out of expectations.
Okay, that's fine. Etho?
My last point is, you know what? When it's time, it will just happen.
Okay.
If at some point I'm supposed to also help you send your daughter to school, when I have the resources, you will just see me doing it. There is no need for pressure. There is no need for us to label the Ubuntu now, giving it names, black tax and all that.
And comparatives.
We do what we can, and what we cannot do, we should not be crucified for that.
Okay. Ron?
Yeah, I think people should learn to, should be mindful of the words they say towards other family members. Like, for example, if your cousin gets married, you find someone who will come to you and be like, or so and so bought their father a car or their mother a car. They haven't told you to buy your parents a car, but they have put that pressure on you indirectly. So we, as we are growing, we must also then know that we shouldn't put such pressure on other people. We must be mindful of what we say. We must be mindful of what we show to the world, and we must also guard jealously that which we have.
That's fine. Thank you, guys. Thank you for taking your time to be here and contributing in this discussion. I'll just give you a few points to take home. I'll start with the parents. As for parents, you guys, you should invest in yourselves as well. There's a practice of sending children to expensive schools with the hope that when they make it, they'll take care of you. We should send children to schools to get a decent education, whilst you invest in yourself and you have a retirement plan. That way, you won't depend on your child for money, groceries, or whatever when you're not able to work. Then for us, as the youths, we should embrace that Ubuntu is part of us. Ubuntu is part of us, but it should be done out of love, is what she has said. But we should never, ever forget where we came from. Yes, I think, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to us on this Black Text subject. We hope that you have learned something. We hope that you implement something. And we hope you'll be able to evade Black Text when possible and avoid it when possible. Thank you.